Hey, my name is ShawNshawN. I sell art on ShawNshawN.co. Today we're going to review Scream 2022. So this is directed by Bettinelli-Olphin and Tyler Gillett. So normally when they do a dual director team like this, it's normally like they're brand new directors and they're kind of throwing them together to bounce each other off and give them a nice proven story like Scream to work on. So that's probably what happened here. Time is an hour and 54 minutes. We have actors Neve Campbell plays Sidney Prescott. Courteney Cox plays Gale Weathers Riley. David Arquette plays Dewey Riley. Melissa Barrera plays Sam Carpenter. Jenna Ortega plays Tara Carpenter. And Minnette plays Wes Hicks. So the story, this killer, Ghostface, has returned to the town, killing obviously high schoolers. Original cast of Scream 1 finds out, and then they pop in and try to prevent further killing. So the weird thing in these movies, they always they always have like the other movie that they're talking about Scream, but they call it Stab in the movie, which I think is always really kitsch. It just seems really tacky to call it that way. Why don't you just call it Scream? But I don't know why they do that. It just seems really weird. They have a good mystery going on of, which friend is the killer. At first you think, oh, it can't be any of these friends. They seem pretty normal, but eventually it's revealed who is the killer, so that's pretty fun. There is a touch of the original movie on TV, so it's kind of fun. They're watching it in the background or seeing it on the couch, and then you have the same scene on the couch where the killer is behind the guy, and then in this case it's repeating the same thing while they're watching the killer behind the couch. So that was really kind of fun, but not overly used. I think in Matrix 4 they just reused 20% of the film was the original Matrix, which was horrible, right? This one just has a couple scenes here and there from the original Scream, so not too much, just make it fun. They have this mystery of who did it amongst the friends, and they do a pretty good job of misdirection, so you don't know who is the killer in the film, so that's really fun. They have a couple of clues as they get to the final scene of, the Scream costume is here, and just a couple of clues to guess who is the actual killers, and so you kind of start to figure out, but it's misdirected enough that you really don't know. There's a little bit of subtle foreshadowing with the costume hanging in the basement. So the killer is in the house. It's much more challenging this era versus the original film. The original film was shot in the 90s. You might have had cell phones with a little bit of text. And now you have obviously full cell phones with the internet and calling the police and filming things. So it's a lot more difficult, but they kind of use it to their advantage because the killer is able to hack their phones and follow them around on their phones as a GPS tracker. So that's a really good use of how you work around the issue of cell phones, which a lot of horror films will just shoot maybe in the 80s just to get around this whole issue of the cell phones because you can call the police and get away fast, supposedly. They have this really nice twist of the girl being the daughter of the original serial killer in the first Scream, so that was kind of a fun touch. It's a little bit tired to bring back all the characters from the original Screams. Like, who really cares about Prescott and Gale Weathers and Dewey? They're just way old now, and it's just you don't even care. The funny thing is you can tell which actress actually did minimal cosmetic surgery and the other one did a lot of cosmetic surgery. So the one that did a lot of cosmetic surgery looks terrible. The other one looks like realistically aged. The other one looks like pumped full of fat in their face and just like that artificial weird cosmetic surgery look where it's they don't look like they're getting younger, but it's kind of like they look some weird version of themselves. So yeah, you can see the terrible things of what happens with people in Hollywood. They get rich and then they still want to look young enough to play younger roles, and then they get all this cosmetic surgery and it doesn't do anything for them to get the younger roles. But yeah, that's kind of a quandary, I guess, if you're a female actress, because you really have those roles up to about 30 where you can still fall in love, and then they jump to grandma stage, right? So there's nothing between 40 and 50. And so all the actresses that get into their 30s, 40s, they start to try to look younger, stay in shape, cosmetic surgery. But there's not much they can do because over time they're just going to get younger actresses, right? It's just that's what people want to see on the screen, and they're not going to be believable as boyfriend, girlfriends. So it's the reality of the way they shoot films. There's just not that many parts for kind of that 40s to 50s actress, unfortunately. Say the other thing about they have this weird lingo where they talk about sequels and requels, and you're like, what the hell are they talking about? And it's just kind of dumb. I guess in the first film, they're kind of film buffs on horror films, and so these guys are film buffs on the original Scream and all the series that went with it. And I've only seen maybe Scream 1. I think I saw Scream 2. I didn't see all the other Screams. I guess there was maybe 3 or 4 more. Last Scream, I guess, was done maybe a couple of years ago, and that one really sucked, apparently. So it's kind of fun discussion there, I think, but it was just really technical, and I'm a real film buff, so I kind of understood a lot of the terminology, but it just seemed a little bit out of place, I think. But it is what it is, because you're like on the 5th or 6th version of Scream, or version 8, or whatever version it is, so I guess you're kind of locked into that. So that's my take. I guess it's a good one-watch film. I don't think I'd collect it, per se. The first one's pretty fun, and like The Ring is definitely collectible, but horror films just aren't really watchable the second time, because unfortunately the mystery's gone. So once the mystery's gone, it's not as much fun. I have seen The Hangover a couple times, and I think some films do have that. They were a mystery, and they're still fun to watch again, because you kind of forget what happens, right? So that's my review. If you guys want to subscribe, you can subscribe below. And I'll see you in the next movie review. Thanks for watching, guys.